Welcome to Labour Lens. I am Sharon Jackson. On this week's edition of the program, we'll be focusing on workers in the maritime sector, the challenges they are faced with, and possible solutions as we bring to you special edition on the next meeting that was held in the year 2022. We will be right back.
Let me now invite our General Secretary, Sharon, to present the Silver Rose Award to Lee Chung. I invite you to please present the award.
For those who wonder why, indeed, we haven't run the kind of global campaign that was called for Yarashok, and we've been much more vocal about Yarashok, it's because he still has, indeed, cases pending. He's still in remand. He's served 20 months already, but he's still in remand for sedition, as is our sister Carol. And that should be heard, that charge, we hope, in the coming months. But it is indeed worrying for us about him languishing in jail. I know his spirit is strong. We know that his lifelong partner is in exile in London with the family, but Lee has our heart. We will never forget that he's imprisoned. We won't forget his lifetime of commitment to his own people and to broader democratic rights and freedoms. And we will stand firm in solidarity to make sure that he actually is free to continue that incredible dedication to a world that we all want. For him to receive the Silver Rose Award does us all proud. And I just ask you to really have a think about the fact that here is a brother again imprisoned, and send him all the positive thoughts that you can. A giant of a Labour hero, Lee Chung.
香港人一定係會繼續堅持咗我哋30年嘅燭光悼念。
Lee Chung is the most iconic figure of the independent labor movement in Hong Kong. He dedicated most of his life to the labor and democratic movement in Hong Kong.
I'm Lee Chung. You can all call me Yan. I think Yan is quite a Swedish name, right? So it's easier. Yeah, and actually Yan in Chinese means a very good word. It means human.
Lee was the former General Secretary of the Hong Kong Confederation of Trade Unions and former chairman of the Hong Kong Alliance in support of patriotic democratic movements of China. After graduating from university in 1978, Lee gave up a career in engineering and devoted himself to serving the working people. Later, he joined the Hong Kong Christian Industrial Committee, where he sought compensation for back wages and severance pay for manufacturing workers. Lee was determined to make a change. Many major labor protests over the past 3 decades, such as the 2007 barbender strike and the 2013 dock workers strike, were all launched with the support of Lee and the Confederation. When the student movement broke out in Beijing in 1989, Lee was responsible for bringing Hong Kong people's donations to Beijing and witnessed the Tiananmen Square massacre with his own eyes. Ever since his return to Hong Kong, he took on the mission of telling the world the truth about June 4th.
If the Chinese government asks the Japanese government to learn from history, they themselves should also learn from history, especially the history of June 4th. But what we see is the regime try to suppress any remembrance of June 4th or any open mourning activity in China. And so we are asking for that the Chinese government should themselves also learn from history.
Under his leadership, the independent trade unions in Hong Kong became the pillar of the democratic movement and always stood firm with the people in the fight for democracy in opposing Article 23 of the Basic Law, the Umbrella Movement, and the Anti-Extradition Law Amendment Bill movement. Over the past 40 years, Lee Cheuk-yan has never ceased fighting for social justice. Even though it brought him imprisonment, he has no complaints, no regrets.
I want to give kudos to my President General, for the type of leadership he is. Not all leaders that consider the workers, but all the time he called all the four leaders in the sector, which is MPA, shipping, dock worker, and seafarers. That's what are you doing to make sure you better the life of the workers under you. And I want to tell you categorically that now he has set up a committee in my branch as a dock worker to look into the NDIC, because we are going into the NDIC next May next year. And he said we should try and make sure that we come out with very good things for the workers, which I believe we want to hide that now. Understand me now before, because I don't want to bring it out. The committee has never given a report to the PG. And I am assuring you that this time around, the life of dock worker will be different than ever. The truth of the matter is that in the past, it's not even presently, it's not every company that is under the Maritime that is paying up to the 30,000 naira minimum wage that is set as a standard by Nigerian Labour Congress. And so the PG, being a member and executive of Nigerian Labour Congress, decided that he cannot be an industry where the workers are shortchanged, where the workers are not treated as in consonance with what the demands of Nigerian Labour Congress is applied. So now he is saying that in his own sector, that the right thing must be done. And let me give you this. So many employer of labor does not know that when you pay workers very well, they will put in their best. So if you want improved productivity, then you need to take care of the workers. At least not just allowances, because what is important now is their take home at the end of their service year. So we are talking about gratuity. So allowances is not part of what is calculated in the gratuity. So we are saying those things like basic salary and the rest of them should be improved upon.
I want to confirm that plan-by-plan negotiation has gone so well. What we are having problem with the industry is the collective bargaining in the industry, that you set the industry standard. That is what we call the NGIC in the company, which has been amplified by the PG speech today. So we are looking up to them to call us so that we can at least start meeting. We won't want to put it on them, but it is negotiation. So we need to negotiate and now see what we can come up with. So that 2023 will not be when we were trying to be pursuing the employers and they are now desisting. We want to be a seamless relationship between the union and the employers in the industry 2023.
Workers, as they say, create wealth. And no country or organization can survive without having that needed manpower to build the organization or to build the economy. So that is why that meaning coming, workers create wealth. With the economic situation of the country these days, the ports or the Nigerian economy, we are import-oriented. We don't produce.
On the Profile interview segment this week, I'll be speaking with the President General of the Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria, Prince Adewale Adeyonju. He gave us several reasons why the union had to issue a 21-day ultimatum to the stakeholders in the shipping sector, while re-emphasizing the need for workers' welfare to be prioritized in the maritime industry. We will be right back. It's good to have you on the program, and congratulations on a successful NEC meeting which was held recently in Lagos, Nigeria.
Thank you for having me.
Can you bring us up to speed on the outcome of the NEC meeting? A lot of issues were raised, perhaps there might be some new changes or reactions from relevant stakeholders which you try to address during the program. I think we should start first with the need for the port expansion. What would you say is needed to be done to ensure that our port is more viable and we don't have most businesses that should come into the country go to other neighboring countries?
Well, I want to thank you for this beautiful question. I think it has to do with the attitude of our government, where they fail to realize that there's need for them to expand our ports. We're so much concentrated in Lagos port and Tinkan ports. What happened to Calabar? What happened to Warri port? What happened to Onne port? There's need for government to expand the scope of operations in all those ports. And we've been making this noise over the years. So next insertion have mandated the executives to meet with all relevant stakeholders, namely Nigeria Port Authority, the Minister of Transport, to let them know that there's need for them to dredge our port properly, so that there's no way you can allow the old ports to die while the new one is springing up. If you look at what is going on in Lekki now, everybody mind, their heart, their body, their soul, they are on the Lekki seaport. But there are a lot of challenges that is about to happen from there. So we are now saying the old port will not be killed for the new one that is springing up. So the government should concentrate on this, our old ports, Warri port, Calabar port, and even Onne for more dredging, so that vessel can be what? Be coming there. So those are the things we did at the NEC, and so many things that is affecting the port operations. Like we have some of the terminals that are not up and doing in terms of warehousing for their members. I think NEC directed that they should be up and doing. That next year is not going to be the way 2022 is all about. So many things were discussed.
Going back to the issue of port expansion, how would you say this has affected businesses in terms of profit for the country, and also how does it impact workers in general? If the port is not working optimally, does it mean that we've had less people, less workers in the port trying to earn their living?
Yeah, it's not even about that. It's about the government not concentrating in expanding most of all these ports we have, like I said earlier on. If you go to Calabar now, it's very scanty. Vessels are no longer going there. They can only celebrate one big vessel in 1 year. So where the Lagos port and Tinkan Island and Upper port, vessels are coming every day. So when I say, okay, this will expand the scope of operations to all those ports, so that the workers out there too will have the sense of belonging. Because we have Nigeria Port Authority workers in that port, we have dock workers, we have seafarers. But when job is not coming, they become an idle workers. And the government, the stakeholder may be thinking otherwise. And say, okay, fine, since the vessel is not coming, why are they there? They are doing nothing. So we don't pray for anybody to lose their job. So expanding the scope is part of government responsibilities and stakeholders. The managing director of Nigeria Port Authority, the other relevant agents that are working under Ministry of Transportation should look inward by way of dredging all our ports. And the revenue you're talking about can come in when there's an efficient in all the ports. But when the port is idle, nothing is coming there, you don't expect any revenue drive. And when revenue is not coming, what happens? To the mind of the management is for them to what? To lay the workers off. So we felt it's a slap on the union and it's a slap on Nigerians when we have something at our hand and we are losing it out.
Issue of unfair labor practice. During the NEC meeting, a state of emergency was declared in the shipping sector. Can you bring us up to speed on that? Has there been any response towards ensuring that workers' welfare is being prioritized in the shipping sector?
The responsibility of any union leader is to protect the welfare of his member, and I don't think we have run out of time to discuss this issue of the unfair practice that is going on in the shipping branch of Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria. We'll be clamoring for standardization of employment, salary reviewed, remunerations in shipping. When over the years, there's what we call a CBA, collective bargaining agreement between employer and employers. In shipping, we have what we call 1 year on, 1 year off. But retirement in shipping is like a death sentence, like I keep on saying all the time. When somebody will be on one scale for almost 10 years without promotion, no remunerations, no empowerment, and no improvement in their services. So the NEC have directed that 21-day ultimatums will be issued out to Shipping Association of Nigeria, condemning their attitude towards not responding to what we are asking them to do. Because we'll be writing letter to them, we'll be calling them for proper meetings so that we can have what we call NGIC. But they are adamant, taking the excuses of COVID-19, which I think, I keep on saying that COVID is no longer in our country, and COVID have traveled to where it comes from. So they cannot run against the wishes of the workers and that of the union. So ultimatum has already been issued out, and the union were out for them, because the welfare of our members is so paramount in our mind, and we are not going to allow them to go away with it.
Also, there was this conversation about shortage of workers in the maritime sector, especially for those ones that are very active at the moment. Can you bring us up to speed on what the observations have? We have some people that are retiring. It's been a while the government have opened a portal for more workers to come into the system. How would you respond to this?
Yeah, we equally discussed that, and we've appealed to the Managing Director of Nigeria Port Authority, the management of NIWA, the management of Shippers Council, that the workers under them, we need them more workers to be engaged and to be employed because of those one leaving, the retirees, and so that they can employ the junior ones to fill the vacancies of the senior one. So over the year, what we are saying and what we are hearing and what we heard about what is going on in the employment in all those sectors is coded employment. Which I think I don't know the meaning of coded employment. All I know is that this will engage the junior staff to fill the vacancies of those senior people that are retiring. If you look at our jetties, hardly you see the workers from MPA, the workers from Shippers Council, the workers from NIWA and NIMASA. You don't see them in our jetties, and we've been clamoring for that this will employ more hands to fill all those vacancies in all the jetties of the federations. So to us as an organized labor, we continue to make noise for the government, to the government, and to that of the management of all these relevant representatives of government agencies to make sure that they employ more junior workers to fill the vacancies of those retirees, so that there will be efficiency in all the port operations.
It was in the news a few days after the conference that the Nigerian Port Authority has received approval for them to employ more junior workers. How true is this?
Well, we had it as a news. I think the Managing Director of Nigeria Port Authority, who was ably represented at our meeting, came in and gave us that good news. We applauded them for doing that. So how soon is that employment going to take place? That is the mind of everybody in Nigeria Port Authority now, that they should employ us on time, employ all these workers to fill the vacancies of the retirees and those ones they promoted. So we thank them for doing that, and for them coming out openly like this, I think we need to thank them, because over the years we don't have that news. They always hide it from us, but now that the government have given them approval to employ more new workers, it's a plus to Nigeria workers in MPA, and it's a plus to even to the union that have been clamoring for that employment over the years.
Okay, moving on to the IOCs, how has been the relationship of the IOCs, various stakeholders, and the workers' union itself?
Well, the IOC, I think the way we see them is like they are more than this country, where ordinarily a Minister of Transport under the former Minister of Transport, Honorable Chief Amechi, gave 7-day ultimatum to all these IOCs. But 7 days ultimatum have turned to almost 4 or 5 months now. They are trying to be funny against the law of this country, where ordinarily there's no how you perpetrated this kind of act in our country. Yes, stevedoring act is very open. NPA happen to be the master stevedore and they engage some stevedoring contractor to manage part of their job by way of asking them, yes, we posted you to so terminals, you must engage them on behalf of the government. What is the job of the stevedoring company is to regulate the stevedoring act and at the same time allow more revenue from that same terminal to the cover of Nigeria Port Authority. But up to now, some of them are adamant, they are not even allowed the stevedoring contractor to come in, while some, like we had, have agreed that they should come in. Those ones that have that mind of allowing the stevedoring contractor to come in, I think we appreciated them. But those ones that are very adamant, I think we'll start picketing them one by one, so that the whole world will know how stubborn they are. So I think that's the start of the union this time around.
So what's been the expatriate quota? Would you say that they are following the expatriate quota that they should have in the companies in Nigeria?
Well, you are talking about local content. I don't even know what percentage they are using now, because the way things is going on in this country, if care is not taken, most of all these expatriates will take over all our jobs. But we are not saying they should not come and make business in this country. But when you are making business in this country, you should respect the law of the land. That is very, very, very important for you coming into this country to make business. You come in to come and develop, to come and invest in this country. When you are investing, you should follow the rules, the law of this great country. They cannot do it in other countries, but our own, we try to allow them to do whatever they like. Maybe our government, our leaders respected them than the law that all of us are from. So to me, either 60 or 40 or 80%, some of them are not even following that percentage you're talking about. If you look at some terminals operators now in Nigeria, the employment that is coming from there is almost 70 to 30%. They bring in foreigners to come and take over the job Nigerians can do. In Nigeria here, we have responsible workers, we have professional accountants, lawyers, talk of many jobs that we can do more than them. But what we are seeing now is they bring in some people from other countries to come and manage the job you and I can do. So the union were opposed for action against all those terminals that are doing that you cannot bring an accountant from Ghana or bring an accountant from Togo, where we have professional accountants in Nigeria. So we are out for them and we are ready for them.
Talking about collective bargaining agreements, I know that personally you have tried to push for that or canvass for a universal collective bargaining agreement. How is that conversation going in the sector?
Well, it's still on. It's still ongoing. I think it's between us and some other countries that happen to be a member of ITF. The conversation is ongoing, and anytime from now, I think we will start to deliberate on the central CBA that involve different countries and other countries. That is Nigeria, Ghana, Senegalese, and Cote d'Ivoire. So we are trying to see what is on their own CBA. Then we do comparison between the 4 countries so that we can have what we call single CBA for APMT terminal workers in West African countries.
Finally, what should Nigerian workers be expecting come 2023, especially in your sector? 2023 is a big year for Nigerian workers because, of course, elections will be taking place also in the labor sector. What should Nigerians expect?
Well, first and foremost, we need to pray to God. The election is utmost in the mind of everybody now. Everybody canvassing for his own leaders. But we pray that the country should not go into extinctions in the hands of politicians. They should play the game very well. They should not turn the workers against each other. Well, my sector, our sector is so peculiar in terms of job. A lot of challenges we'll be having it in the past, and we pray 2023 is going to be a very good year for all the workers in maritime sectors. But before we start doing that, let them come and see what is going on in the port. The Tinker Island port, the Aba port, and the road leading to the port. I think whoever is coming as the new president should please, because we're talking to the outgoing president over the years about this road. It's like God did not answer our prayers then, but we are still going to tell the person that is coming to take over for him that he should come and put his tentacle on the road leading to the port. Because you know we lost so many investors as a result of the bad road. The Minister of Works and Transport promised heaven and earth that the next 6 months. 6 months is almost 4 or 5 years now, and the road is still the way it is. So we pray God will touch their heart to remember us.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
And that's all we can take on today's edition of the program. Join us next week for a fresh edition of the show. I am Sharon Ijason. Thanks for watching, and remember that labor creates wealth.